with over 3,000 fossils in the museum, most of which I've collected, pinning it down to the best thing I've found is fairly difficult. In terms of excitement, the first time I ever discovered a bit of dinosaur bone, that was really exciting for me. The first time I ever found my first ever fossil, it was a tiny little belemnite, little squid fossil. That was really, really exciting as well, the first fossil I ever found. The best fossil I've ever found, in terms of the best quality one, I mean, the fish fossil, which I mentioned earlier, I mean, that's probably one of the best preserved ones, but I can't really claim I found it because it was found in a pile of coal, you know. But in terms of stuff that I've actually dug up and excavated out, there's been some fantastic mammoth fossils that I've found and elephant bones that I've found in beaches nearby me, which has been fantastic, and teeth and stuff. We were only just the other day, we were down underneath the Severn Bridge going over to Wales digging up dinosaur bones, and there was some really nice teeth that we found in there as well. So there's some fantastic stuff. I mean, I love Britain. It's amazing. You can get some amazing stuff if you know where to look and know where to find. But that's the thing, a lot of people don't, which is why we take people on field trips. It's why we, you know, part of the thing we'll do, we'll take people around and show them what's actually out there, what's actually in the rocks and the fossils. So there's some amazing stuff around. You just need to know where to look. So this comes from the Kem beds in Morocco. Lovely bit of limestone ammonite. Interesting bit of history. If anybody ever wants to tell you that religion and science don't go together, just show them the ammonite fossil. Because what does it mean? Ammonite. Ite means thing. Ammon was a Egyptian god. He was one of those half sheep, half human gods, and he had these great big curly horns. When they first found the Ammonites, they said, oh look, it looks a bit like those curly goat horns. It does a little bit. And they said, oh, it looks exactly like the curly goat horns or curly ram horns on the god Ammon. And so Ammon, the Egyptian god, Ite, the thing, which looks like the god Ammon. Religion and science go glove in glove. They really do go together, and trying to separate them is impossible, and even in the naming of the fossils. So that's a really nice fossil there. Interesting bit of dinosaur bone here. This is what we found this on the Isle of Wight, and you can kind of see it's a rib bone. You can kind of see the curvature, but you can see it curves a little bit, and then it suddenly sharply goes to one side. And you've also got this funny big lump here. Now this is brand new bone matter. This is Iguanodon rib bone. He had broken his ribs. He had broken it, snapped it, and then this is brand new bone matter, which has grown over the top as he's tried to heal it. So you've got evidence there of pain in dinosaurs. Now, if you believe in evolution and the Bible and you try and fit the two together, you have to say that this pain is part of the world which God called very, very good. Which means if this kind of world with broken bones and pain and diseases and all kind of stuff that you find in the fossil record, if God calls that good and he calls heaven good, how do you know there isn't going to be pain and disease and suffering in heaven as well? It only makes sense if this is a result of man's sin, which brought the death and the pain and suffering into the world and then fossilized in the flood. So it's a really nice little bit of fossil. Has got a little bit of a story as well, or the little bone which has been grown over there as he's tried to heal it as well. We've got some more chunks of bone. This is all dinosaur bone here from the Isle of Wight, some great big chunks of bone. This one is from a Hadrosaur dinosaur. That's one of the ones with the duck bills that you've got there. Okay, so this is a lovely fossil we've got here. It's a Echinoderm, or a fossil sea urchin. And you can see it's exactly like the living ones today. That's how we know what it is. It's got these lovely big, each where these little rows of holes were, you'd have had little spikes come out. So they look exactly like the same thing that we have today. Now this comes from the cliffs in Norfolk. It is a supposed 109, around about 109 million years old, if you take the secular history, which I don't. But if you do take it, it does make a very interesting point, because these are exactly the same as the ones we find today. Okay, so 109 million years of supposed evolutionary history, and you haven't changed one bit. You haven't even evolved. So where is the evolution? You've started from this, and you've evolved into this. You haven't evolved at all. It's from a shark called Megalodon. Now it's interesting because this links in quite nicely with the history of geology, because they used to find these teeth. Okay, the ancient Greeks used to find these teeth. Now the ancient Greeks had a very particular view on fossils, because you've got to remember they had a belief system where they believed in gods. Now their gods were nothing like our God, Jesus Christ, because their gods were basically just superhumans, okay? If you could play tricks, they could play even more tricks. You know, if you were strong, they could be stronger. If you had some power, they had even more power. They were just like big humans, okay? So they believed that the gods would put these in the rocks to try and trick them. They used to call them tongue stones, okay, because they look a bit like a tongue that way up. And they said, oh look, that looks like a shark tooth, but there's a problem. Sharks live in the water. They don't live in the rocks. Therefore, the gods must have put these in there to, you know, pretend. And in fact, that actually went through a lot of history. All through the Middle Ages, people used to believe that Satan created these and hid these in the rock in order to trick humans, and that we should look for the one true God because Satan had used these as tricks. But then when Nicola Steno came along and actually said, no, these are real teeth, you've then got the very valid question, well, sharks live in the water. How did these sharks' teeth get in the rocks? And you open up a whole new branch of science, paleontology, looking at how you actually get fossils in the first place. So it's for many, many years you had just this sort of superstition about what these were, and then all of a sudden you've got a brand new branch of fossils, brand new branch of science, paleontology. How do these fossils actually get there? What can we learn from them?